Got a couple of DCRTRV240s, both of them broke in. We're going to try and get one going and then use the other one as a donor head for that GBD 200 that I've got that has a bad head. So let's check the first one out. This is a Sony Digital 8 camcorder, a DCRTRV240, and we're either going to use this for parts to fix that little video Walkman, or we're going to fix it because it's owned by the same guy. So he's brought me two camcorders, both of them have faults. We're going to look at the camcorders and see whether they can be fixed, and if not, then maybe we'll use it as a parts and steal the drum out of this to fix another one. Anyway, this one here, the complaint on this one, I believe, is it's got an error when you try to play a tape. So let's just load it up and we'll see what they're doing. One of them, he says, does not open, and the other one has an error. So let's see whether this one. Oh, it doesn't even want to load the tape. This one here, something is sticking the compartment from going down completely. It'll close if there's no tape in it, but if there's a tape in it, it won't close. Interesting. So maybe this is going to be the one that's the organ donor. Yeah, that one doesn't seem to even want to close. Let me just try the other one and see. We'll grab the other one at the same time. Wherever I did with it. Okay, this is the battery on this one. This one appears to be that the mechanism is jammed on, isn't it? Or it shuts down. There we go. This one here has got about a half of a pitcher. Yeah, we got an alignment problem on this for starters. Looks like an alignment problem on the bottom side of the pitcher. So let's just see if I can get that other camera to load again. This one may be the donor camera for the head drum to fix the GBD 200. Oh, you know what? Hello, Houston. We have a problem. This one's missing a guide. I think this is going to be the donor right here. No wonder we have half of a picture. Look down inside the camera here. I didn't even notice this when I looked at it at first. Do you see something wrong with this one? One of the tape guides is missing. Here's one guide right here. Where's the other one? Is it? I don't even see it up at the top of this travel. One of those, the guide is completely missing. Well, that would explain why we're getting half of a picture. I think we found the unit that this drum is going to be a donor from, because this has got parts missing. And they're not in the camera. So that's an easy one. That's a no-brainer. Now it's jamming. It won't even thread. How it closed before, I don't know. Here's the opening to this video. We'll tackle this one later. Let's see why this other one is not accepting the tape. You see, if we look at this one, you'll see that the unit has the two guides. Now you can see where the guide is missing. Here's the guide here, right? It's got this plastic piece, and then the guide is right there. And if we look at the other camera, it's absent. That whole side is missing, you see? Right down in here. Missing. On this one, there's the guide. And yet this one's missing a pinch roller. What the? Look at this. There's no pinch roller on this one. Someone's been robbing parts out of these is what's happened. I think the guy that owns this must have bought these things as parts, because we're missing a pinch roller on this one. Right? There's no pinch roller here. There's a pinch roller on this one. But there's a guide that's missing. Fun times. I guess we'll be picking parts off of both of these and try to make one camcorder that works and one GBD 200. So I guess we'll be tearing both of these down at the same time. Yeah, this rubber's all falling apart on these. Oh, there's the pinch roller. Pinch roller fell out. There it was. It was inside the unit. Interesting. Well, the clip that holds it in place is missing, so we'll have to put that back in, and maybe that'll make. That was probably what was jammed underneath the tape. You know that? When I couldn't get the tape to close, I bet you that's why it wasn't closing, because the pinch roller was jamming it. So let's just. Let's take this one apart, and I'll take the retaining clip off of the other one, and we'll put the pinch roller back in this one and see if this camera works. So let's just take the take the tape door off this one. Maybe the missing guide is inside the camera. Usually they don't fall out, but I say usually because these cameras are the ones that open from the bottom, so if anything was to drop out and the camera was facing down when it was opened, it, part could have fallen out easily. Just, I guess we'll find out once I actually get into this thing. Look for that missing guide. Is it in there? I don't see it. I can see the guide arm, the control arm, right there. Right, the control arm is right there, just flapping in the breeze. You see? Right, that. But that's okay, because I'm only really interested in the pinch roller, which looks to be in better shape than. Oh, this one's not too bad. That pinch roller doesn't look to be in too bad a shape, but the other one looks to be in better shape. So we will we'll take this one off if I can, without tearing this thing apart any more than I have to. Should be able to just dig that little clip out of there. With this door in the way like this. Okay, there's the retaining clip off, and now I can lift out the pinch roller. Come on, lift off, damn it. There we go. Get the old pinch roller out of there. Well, this pinch roller looks to be in really good shape, so we'll put this pinch roller into this camera and put the retaining clip back on, and then test it and see if the camera will work. There's that. And now put this top piece back on. just slips over the post and I push it down in place. How that came off on its own, I didn't. You know, these don't come off that easy, so how this thing slipped out of this, I don't know. Let's push it down. I know it's hard for you guys to see what I'm doing because of the way that this chassis is designed, but I'm basically going to push that. You can see it on top here. I can get in here. I'm going to push this down. And that'll seat the pinch roller. And it is quite stiff. You actually have to push it a bit. Okay, let's see whether this will load or tape now, whether it'll play said tape. This camera might be fixed without even having to do anything other than put the pinch roller back on. Ah, look, now it threads. I think the tape probably got damaged when I was trying to play it on that machine with the missing guide. I'll just try cleaning the heads on this thing and see if it fixes it. Making a bit of a ticking sound there, but we'll just clean the heads and see if that fixes it. So I'll put the cleaning tape in. I'll run that through for about 10 seconds. There it goes, spinning. And that should be enough. That ticking sound is like a crack in one of the little gears. More than likely on the capstan where it drives the tooth belt, and every time it makes rotation it ticks when it's running at speed, but we'll see here. Do we get a picture? Yes or no? So it looks like we have a dirty head. It might be the edge connector as well. So we'll take a look at the edge connector. Oh, wait a minute! It is a head. It's clearing up. I think the head's just clogged. I think what happened is that tape was damaged, and when I put that damaged tape in it, I probably chewed it up with that other machine. We'll just run the cleaner through it one more time.
Because 8mm and DV tape for that matter, and that uses a metal tape, when you get a head clog, they're usually quite difficult to clear. And you basically have to scrape the debris off the head. Dry cleaning tape uses abrasion to try to remove it. Usually it works, not always, but you don't want to overuse it. If it doesn't work after like 3 or 4 times, the machine needs to be serviced and done by a professional.
Could be a cracked gear on the capstan motor, or a piece of sand or something that's stuck in the teeth. That's what it sounds like. Okay, we'll check that connector. We'll pull it apart and check that connector. Don't want to run the cleaning tape more than a couple times through, because if it's a connection that's loose, right, we won't see a picture. Oh, it's a warm one today. And today is just the first day of our so-called heat wave that we're getting again. Seems like this is like the third heat dome of the summer for us. We're saying it's going to get up to a little over 30. Feels like it's that temperature now with the humidity. Of course, I walk into the house and it's nice and cool. So I've got air conditioning there, but not in the shop, I don't. Oh. Get all these little screws out. That's it. This should come off now, if I'm not mistaken. I've got all the screws out of. Oh, wait a minute. There's one more. There are a couple more in here, but not to take the nose cone off. But the rest of it there is. And might as well take them all out now while I'm at it. I need more light. I don't like turning on the lights just because there's going to be even more heat, but the LED light is on the arm here is nice, but it's problem is it's shining in my face all the time. It drives me crazy because it's always glaring in my face. I'm doing all the arrow mark screws. Some of them, the arrows aren't quite as easy to see on, but these ones here are arrow marked, as is this one. And this one. So I'm starting to turn to this little screwdriver, Secure, however they pronounce it. I'm starting to turn to this little screwdriver more and more because it just makes it effortless to take out a bunch of small screws. Oh, this should lift off the front here. I hate these things because I know when they pop, quite often usually the audio connector will disconnect without doing any damage, but it's nice if we can get the catch to release here so that it doesn't go flying. Come on, open. There we go. So usually what ends up happening is this pops right off and then you end up pulling this connector apart, which normally won't break. It'll normally just pop apart like that, but it's always nice if you can take it apart without having it fly apart like that. Connectors, of course, are these ones here that I'm concerned that are bad. I'm just going to reseat them and see if I get my picture back, because it is such a common problem on these camcorders. And of course you got to take all those screws out in order to get the side panel off, and then once you've got all the screws out, the side panel will just lift right off just like that. And I think I got them all. Oh, of course not. There's always one that's left, right? The one that covers the little panel here. Okay, now I can undo this connector right there, and I can undo this connector right over here, and now the side cover is off. Now I can get to what I'm thinking may be the issue on this one, and that's these edge connectors where the head drum plugs in. So I'm just going to undo them and reseat them, because that is generally all that is required to correct a broken connection from them. This one here's got a bit of tape over it, so we'll just take that tape off and carefully undo this connector and redo it without breaking it. There we go, it's out. And there's one more underneath here as well that you have to take the viewfinder off to really get at it. Viewfinder I can just unplug here. That's what lifts the viewfinder off, and then the battery compartment can come off. I don't need to actually take the battery compartment off though. I just need to take the viewfinder out. Should be these. 3 screws, and then the viewfinder should lift out. There we go. Now the viewfinder's out of the way. And there's 1 screw in here. It has to come out. And now this will lift off. There. Now I can reseat this last stupid connector, because this one gives trouble too. All these connectors give us trouble, so we'll just reseat this one. And this other one here. Let's move this one back and forth a bit. Maybe unplug it. There we go. Plug it back in. There. So those are all reseated. Now I can put the viewfinder back on. As I say, a lot of screws to take out just to get that stupid viewfinder out of there, because of that one hidden screw. It's like they put that in there just to piss people off. Of course, there's another screw here if you want to take the side panel off. There's another screw down there that's got to come off. But we're not going to do that. We're going to put this back. So the battery cover goes back on. We'll put the little plastic screw back into the casing here. And then the viewfinder can clip it back in. And the 3 golden type colored screws, silver screws, as opposed to the black screws. Plug back in the eyepiece. Now I can start putting some of the other screws back in to hold this thing together. I'll put the side cover on it, plug it in, and see if it plays back recordings. Alrighty, let's see whether this thing works. At least I can get at it here to do the fingernail cleaning without having to put the tape in, the cleaning tape, if it doesn't work. So now I can use the old fingernail, see if it's the head that's clogged. This will usually clear it off if it is. Just the back of my fingernail. Bingo! Let's try a different tape. Let's try, I got a digital 8 tape here, I think. Yeah, let's try this one. Perfect. So it's playing that tape perfectly. We'll grab another analog tape and we'll try another analog tape out in it. I think we're fixed. Okay, this is a high 8 tape. Should be color bars on the beginning. This is that fireworks tape. There we go. There it is, playing high 8. This is those HMPX tapes, which are terrible tapes. They have a tendency to clog the heads up. But there's the fireworks show. Playing back perfectly on this one now. So I can put this camera together, and this one's fixed. And then we'll do another video on transplanting the head from the other one onto the, because the other camera is going to be the donor camera. But we'll do another video for that. Now this one's making that ticking sound. See if I can find where that is. I think it's probably something in the jammed in the teeth of the capstan motor gear. You see, if you look down here, there's a tooth belt that is used to drive the take up and supply. And what a lot of times happened was, especially if someone got any dirt in the camera, is it would get caught in that tooth belt, and it would end up getting caught in the pulley on the other end. And then what happens is every time the pulley makes a rotation, when it's at high speed, you don't hear it when it's playing a recording because it's turning relatively slow. But when you're in fast forward and rewind, every time it makes a rotation, you get a little tick, 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 tick. But unfortunately, the only way to get that out of there is to actually take the capstan motor out. So it's something that we don't want to do that if we don't have to, because it's a major job, and it's not going to hurt anything, right? Like when you're playing a digital 8 tape, like this is here's the digital 8 tape again. You know, you don't notice it at all when it's running, other than when it's at fast forward or rewind. So right, you hear it then, but in normal playback, it's not an issue. You don't hear it, it doesn't affect the operation. So I'm going to leave that alone. That was a very common issue on all of these cameras that use that belt. And I can feel it. As it ticks, I can feel a vibration. So I know where the problem's going to be. I can't see it on this one just from the way the mechanism is built. Some of them you could actually see it and you could get at it, but just the way that this mechanism is built, it's underneath here. It's underneath here, where you can see where I'm putting the screwdriver. The pulley is back here, and the belt goes around. The pulley's on the other side of the capstan motor, but again, it's on the top side. It's not the bottom side of the chassis. It's on the top side, and the only way to get at it is to actually remove the capstan motor. And to do that, well, that's a huge job. Huge. So we won't do that on this one. I'm going to put this one back together and say we'll close this video off. I'll throw it together, show you guys it going back together. We'll close this one off as a completion and a successful repair. Another successful repair. And then we'll move on and we'll take the head off of this one, because this has got a missing guide, as you saw, and now it has a missing pinch roller. We're going to pull the drum off of this and use it to fix that other machine. We'll do that as a separate video. So let me get this one back together. I always thought this was a dumb design. This was not my favorite Sony by a long shot. This stupid design. It's the way this camera is designed. It's destined to have to break. It's destined to get water down there, which gets onto those connectors and shorts them out. And I mean, the connectors have enough problems on their own, but you can see if you look at this screw, look at the top of that screw. This is the screw that was in the top over here. I might think it was the screw over here, but you see, it looks like it's gotten wet. go together easier than they come apart. That's for sure. Snap together. I don't know. I still think I'm faster with the manual screwdriver. I like the electric one, but you know, I think I can put a camera together faster with this. It just turns faster, and you know, using balance the screwdriver with your finger. It's got a hinge on the top, and just spin it. I don't know. I still like using the good old little Sony engineer screwdriver. One that I will never be able to replace if it gets broken, which I thought that before. I thought I would never be able to replace it when my now almost 24-year-old, when she was, I think probably, I don't know, 21, or whenever she broke it, when she decided to use it to pry batteries out of a, I don't know what it was, out of a remote control or something, and she snapped the bit and then just leaves it sitting on my bench. I think if I broke a tool of my dad's, which I didn't, but if I had broken the tool, I don't think I would have left it sitting on his bench and pretend it didn't happen. I think I probably would have tried to get rid of the evidence. In fact, I know I would have tried to get rid of the evidence. That tool would have just vanished. It would have, and when he came looking for it, have you seen my widget? No. Which widget? I don't know which one you're talking about. Which one? Which one was that? Oh yeah, I know the one. Oh, I haven't seen it. Why? Oh, I can't find it. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen it. That would have been my response. Not leave the evidence there to be found. People that leave evidence behind, right? They deserve what they get. All right. One of these front covers is in equally bad shape to the other one, I guess. What do we got here? That's worse. We'll put this one on. This one looks a little more presentable. This is still a camera that I wouldn't toss one of these out. This is one of the good ones. Any of these cameras that Sony had that can play back 8mm, high 8, and digital 8, any of the ones that have the analog playback, they're definitely ones that are worth hanging on to. Because the only format that they cannot play is the high 8 tapes that have the PCM soundtrack. They'll play it, they just won't play the PCM soundtrack. They'll play the AFM, but they won't play the digital. But that's the only thing that they won't play. They'll play SP, they'll play LP, they'll play digital 8. I think some of these ones will even play back PAL tapes, but they'll output it as a PAL signal. Like a digital 8 PAL tape will play on this. I don't think the analog PAL, but a digital 8 PAL tape will play, if I'm not mistaken. I know that the ones that I have will. They'll play a PAL tape, but they'll output it as a PAL signal. Of course, it uses the what's it use for an output on this thing? There's got to be video output on the side here. Yeah, it uses the special one that requires the Sony cord, and no other cord but the Sony cord will play it. but at least it's got DV out and it's got S video. You can use the S video out and you can plug a regular, like a stereo cord. I believe a stereo, like a regular stereo cord, will output, pretty sure it'll output the left and right audio, but not the video. So you can plug a stereo cord into here and an S video, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that. I probably am wrong, because I've never tried. I've only used the right cord. One last test once it's put back together, make sure that everything is working, and that will close this video off, and then we can move on to the next one, which will be a different video, of course. There we go, complete with sound. And that's about all I can play with that, because you know that music is gonna have some copyright associated with it. Anyway, there we go, DCRTRV240 fixed. Thanks for watching.